Welcome to The Explainer, where we make complex topics simple. Today, we're tackling two words in philosophy that sound, well, almost the same, but are worlds apart: transcendent and transcendental. And trust me, getting this difference down will totally change how you think about reality itself.
Okay, let's just dive right in. I mean, for as long as we've been around, people have looked up at the stars or just at the world around them and asked, is this it? Is there something more out there beyond what our senses are telling us? And that one question, that's our launchpad for everything we're going to talk about today.
So, here's what we've got on the agenda. We're going to start with that classic, ancient idea of a world beyond our own. And then we're going to see how this one guy, Immanuel Kant, came along and just completely flipped that idea on its head, turning the search inward instead of outward.
You know, that big question, is there more out there? It led to one of the oldest, most powerful ideas in all of philosophy, the concept of the transcendent. It's all about the search for what lies, beyond the limits of our own experience.
Okay, so here's the key thing to remember. When we say something is transcendent, we mean it's on a totally different plane of existence. It's beyond our world, it's separate from it, it's above it. Let's check out a couple of classic examples to make this crystal clear.
All right, so two of the biggest, most influential ideas about the transcendent in the whole of Western thought, well, they come from two major sources, the ancient Greek philosopher Plato and centuries of theology. Both imagined a reality far greater than our own.
So let's start with Plato. For Plato, this world we see and touch, this isn't the real world. Not really. The real world for him was this transcendent realm of perfect forms, the perfect idea of a circle, the perfect idea of justice. It's totally separate from our messy, imperfect, always changing world. Everything we experience here is just a shadow, a crappy copy of that perfect reality.
And then, of course, you've got the idea of a transcendent God. I mean, this concept of a supreme being that exists completely outside and above the universe he created. Man, that dominated philosophy and religion for centuries. You see it with the Neoplatonists, the scholastics, even a guy like Descartes. The basic idea was always the same. The ultimate being is out there, separate from the world. But not everyone was on board with this. The philosopher Spinoza, for example, he just rejected that whole idea. He argued that God is immanent. Now, that sets up this amazing philosophical showdown. Is the ultimate reality separate from us up in some other realm that's transcendent? Or is it right here, all around us, part of us? That's immanent. And this argument, it totally sets the stage for a major revolution in thinking. Okay, fast forward to the 18th century. Enter the heavyweight Immanuel Kant. He completely changed the game. He basically said, hey everyone, let's stop guessing about what might be beyond our experience. Let's ask a different question. How is our experience even possible in the first place?
And this right here, is the absolute key difference. It's a total 180. Instead of looking outward to some other reality, Kant turned the investigation inward, to the structure of our own minds. He wasn't trying to see other worlds. He was trying to figure out the very framework we use to see this one.
So when Kant uses the word transcendental, he's not talking about escaping reality at all. He's talking about investigating the built-in universal operating system of the human mind, the very system that structures our reality. Think of it like studying the pre-installed software that comes with every single human brain right out of the box.
Okay, so how does this operating system actually work? Kant's big revolutionary idea was this: we aren't just passive observers. Our minds don't work like a camera just taking in pictures. No, our minds are active. They shape, they organize, they structure everything we experience.
And the best way to think about this is the colored glasses analogy. Imagine every single one of us is born wearing a pair of invisible glasses. We can't ever take them off. So Kant's Transcendental project isn't about figuring out what the world is like on the other side of the lenses. It's about studying the lenses themselves. We can't see the world as it is, only the world as it's filtered and shaped by our glasses.
Kant had a name for these built-in structures, these factory settings of the mind. He called them a priori. A priori just means from before. It's the stuff your mind knows how to do before you've had any actual experience. Think about it. Concepts like space, time, or causality, the idea that every effect has a cause. We don't learn these from the world. They are the rules the mind imposes on the world to make it make sense.
So check this out. This is basically Kant's assembly line for how we create knowledge. First, you get this raw, chaotic mess of data flooding in from your senses. Instantly, the first filter, what he called sensibility, kicks in and organizes all that data in space and time. Then a second filter, the understanding, applies concepts or categories like causality or substance. And boom, the output is the organized, structured reality that we call knowledge. It happens automatically, all the time.
All right, so Kant's system gives our minds incredible power, right? We literally help construct the reality we experience. But, and this is a huge but, it also creates very strict limits. Our reason, he says, has this bad habit of trying to go too far. Our reason naturally pushes us to find the ultimate unified answer for everything. And this leads us to what Kant calls the three transcendental ideas. You can think of them as the greatest hits of metaphysics. The soul, the idea of a single unified self. The world, the idea of the total sum of everything. And God, the idea of an ultimate first cause. Now, Kant says it's completely natural for our minds to cook up these ideas. The danger comes when we forget that that's all they are, ideas.
This is what he called a transcendental illusion. It's what happens when our reason tries to apply its tools of knowledge to things that are by definition beyond any possible experience, like the soul or God. You're using the wrong tool for the job. You're taking this amazing system designed for processing sensory experience and you're trying to use it on things that have no sensory component. All it does is create logical messes.
But hold on. Kant isn't saying we should just throw these ideas out. Not at all. He says we should use them in what he calls a regulative way. Think of them as guideposts, as goals for our thinking. For example, a scientist who acts as if nature is a unified systematic whole is going to be more motivated to go out and make new discoveries. The mistake, the constitutive use, is when you treat these ideas like actual objects that you can know and prove. That's when you get into trouble.
And that brings us to the core of it, really. For Kant, our knowledge is locked into the world of phenomena, the world as it appears to us. We can be masters of this realm because our own minds provide the rules. But the world of the thing in itself, what reality is really like independent of our minds, that transcendent world is something we can never ever know.
So, Kant's entire project leaves us with this massive, kind of mind-bending question. If our own minds structure the reality we see, what is the world in itself really like? We can study our glasses, sure, but what does the world look like without them on? We can never know. And that is a heck of a thought to leave you with. Thanks for tuning in.